17 weeks of regular season games, 4 weeks of playoff football, one underwhelming Pro Bowl. It can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Super Bowl time. Although we can't call it Super Bowl because the
Yeah.
NFL will sue us into fine powders. So,
Big game number
the Super
57.
I actually have a superb owl. Like
Hmm.
last Halloween, I had a little hot, a little owl plushie that I brought with me that had like little blue tinted glasses, and I went as like a steampunk thing. And
Oh,
her name
that's
was Dara.
cute.
Her name was Dara. It was the fucking cutest thing. Anyway, greetings to everyone. I'm Nikki V. That's Voice of Reason. We're back one more time for the Super Bowl. It's everything we ever wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But
But
also,
before we do that, we're actually changing things up a bit because we have
Mhm.
to talk about our little award show. Because normally around this
Right.
time, is also the NFL honors. So, like last year, we're gonna be doing our own awards, and then at the end of this video, which you should also stick around for, we'll give our own Super
Mhm.
Bowl predictions.
Right. Because also, like, if we would have just made the Super Bowl its own dedicated video, it would have been like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, pretty
This
much.
way we could make it complete, feature length.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And as always, starting things off, let's talk about with our rookies. Rookies of the year, starting off with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nikki, your Offensive Rookie of the Year is?
Brock Purdy.
All right.
Like, I don't think anybody could have possibly seen this one coming because, like San Francisco seemed set for the future at quarterback. Not only did they have, you know, uh, somebody to hold down the fort, but Trey Lance is just hanging out, wait for something to happen, and then both like Garoppolo and Lance end up going down, and then Brock Purdy is just the fucking man.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just goes off. He doesn't lose a single game as a starter. In fact, if you count games where he basically started and finished the game, he's still undefeated.
That is
Well,
true.
I guess not. Did come back in the NFC Championship game because the 49ers literally ran out of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But still, holy fuck. Like,
Hmm.
in a year that didn't really have a quarterback, like a quarterback that was around from the beginning, do all that much. Like, Kenny Pickett was, like, pretty bad, and Malik Willis was literally unplayable. So, Des Ritter kind of had some flashes, but he's not ready yet. Like Brock Purdy is the only quarterback that looks pro ready, and that usually results in them getting offensive player of the year or offensive rookie of the year.
Mm. As for me, I had a couple of a couple of people to go off of. I could have picked a wide receiver like Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. Could have went an underdog an underdog tight end. I could have went with Daniel Bellinger, who I think is a sleeper pick for a sleeper like steal pick from this past draft if he didn't get injured. But I ultimately went with a running back, and that's Kenneth Walker III from Seattle.
Mm,
Yep.
that is reasonable.
Yep. Yeah. Between him and I think I forgot. Ramondre Stevenson is also a rookie, right?
No,
Oh
I don't
no.
believe so.
Uh,
Ramondre was around that.
oh yeah, no. He was last year. Okay, never mind. But yeah, he was the top rookie amongst a big class of running backs, at least for this year. This year basically reinvigorated the running back.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenneth Walker, I think, even though he's listed 12th as far as yards, he still had a major impact in helping Seattle get to get to the playoffs and secure a wild card. Over 1,000 yards rushing, 4.6 yards average per carry, as long 9 touchdowns, and probably the biggest one that had me pick him over another one. No fumbles, no fumbles lost this entire year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that was. And on top of that, he helped a Seattle team that had no business making the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
making the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah. But like this was like you said, this was a really good year for rookie running backs because there was a whole bunch of them who contributed to their team. Like there was Kenneth Walker, of course, but there was also Breece Hall, James Cook, Brian Robinson, Damian Pierce,
Isaiah Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Algier. Uh, Also, I think the one that you were thinking of, the Patriots did draft a running back. It was Pierre Strong Jr., who also was kind of helpful. It was just a great year for the running back position, and it injected a lot of fresh blood into the position.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Right.
year, good year.
All right. Moving on to the next category, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and this is the first category where we both agreed on who the Defensive Player of the Year is.
Actually, this is the only category where we agree on who the winner of this should be.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of wild, but yeah.
So
But there's really no debating on who this one is.
yeah. So question though, Alfredo or marinara?
I don't know. I loves me a good sauce.
Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the New York Jets. God damn. Like, like,
When you show up and are immediately the best player at your division, it's really hard to pick anybody else. I mean, Tariq Woolen did pretty good,
yeah.
and like he's up there as well. And Aiden Hutchinson had a couple of really good games, but this was all sauce.
And the reason for it, he out of all cornerbacks, including veterans, he had the most passes defended at 20. He beat out Jalen Ramsey.
He beat out everybody.
Yeah.
He was the man.
Yeah, in fact, it's probably him along with the rest of the Jets secondary that had the Jets have the least points against for the in the entire year for the entire league, because I think
Right.
I try to remember, like they had, like, I think it was like 311 was their points against, even though the Jets were points for was like in the 240s, but that's saying a lot when the team is able to lock down the pass, and and it's all thanks to a reviled secondary, thanks to DJ Reed and the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very impressive. And it's kind of weird. I don't think I don't think anybody talked a single time about the number 1 overall pick this season. What happened to Trayvon Walker?
I'm not sure.
His team made the playoffs. Like, I would assume that he did literally something.
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, more people were talking about Aiden Hutchinson compared to him.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, Aiden Hutchinson was like the consensus number 1 draft pick for the entire process, except for the entire process before and after, except for like a 2-week window where Trayvon Walker, who was supposed to be like a mid-first, just went, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even it's like a Mario Williams Reggie Bush scenario where, like, oh, that was a weird pick. Why did you go for that guy over the top running back in college? No, and it turns out, oh, he's actually a really good defensive player. That was an actually really good pick. It just it's compared to grabbing. I'm trying to like a good comparison. grabbing like Reggie White as
Hmm.
at the number 2, and then you're and picking like an average, like sort of like someone who's average,
Hmm.
like Andre Bruce.
Hmm.
Like you,
Let's see here. 45 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 1 pick, 1 forced fumble.
hmm,
Hmm. Yeah, that's about what I said.
right, all right, all right. So moving on from defensive rookie year to coach of the year, the coach that basically like through their own management and their own and through whatever setbacks help their team rise up to the top.
Hmm.
I'll go first on this one. This was initially I had someone else as my placeholder, but then the wild card game happened against the Minnesota Vikings, and that goes to Brian Daboll.
Hmm.
Brian,
Like, he absolutely deserves it.
yeah, Brian Daboll is coach of the year because he helped this Giants team who was basically working with essentially a practice squad, with the exceptions of Saquon and Doug Jones, Daniel Jones, excuse me, uh, and like helping them
Like,
and basically helping them like claw their way into the playoffs
hmm.
uh, with essentially what is grit.
Hmm.
Like again, the
Yeah.
perfect example of that is just going on the top of my head, not just not in the wild card game, but the game against the Patriots in London.
Yeah.
Saquon got hurt early, came back in later. Brian Daniel Jones had a leg injury where he got cut, where he basically had the what do you call it, the Kurt Schilling injury, where there was like he was bleeding from the leg,
Mm-hmm.
and he was still playing, and they still managed to beat, and they managed to come back against the Patriots by almost shutting them out for the second half.
Hmm. Like, it cannot be overstated. Like, before the start of the season, Daniel Jones was on track to be a certified bust.
Mm.
Now he's probably going to make $35 million this offseason.
Yeah, yep. There's definitely a chance that he will get a modest extension with the Giants, so long as that uh, Dable and Joe Shane find some wide receivers in this draft.
Hmm. Yeah, like, get Daniel Jones some help, and all of a sudden the Giants got themselves a stupid.
Mm.
But yeah, like, the fact that I could be this complimentary of, like, the person that I didn't pick, like, this class this year was fucking stacked.
Mm.
Like, there was any number of coaches that were on the table for me. Oddly enough, neither of whom are the coaches who made the Super Bowl.
No, Andy
Like,
Reid. Nick Sirianni was my placeholder.
right. Honestly, like, Nick Sirianni was good, but for me, if we had a GM of the year, I would have probably given it to Howie Roseman
Yeah,
instead. Because, like, I think that this Eagles team is so well put together that, like, there really aren't that many coaches who could have fucked it up.
right.
I'm sure that there's some, but yeah. But for me, I would say that my coach of the year is Doug Peterson, because, like, nobody could have predicted that this Jaguars team would, like, make this much of a jump. Like, we all knew that the difference between Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson was as wide as the ocean, but, like, I don't think anybody expected results this quickly with a roster that was still, like, not great. Like, they're still working with a really green roster, but
Right.
Doug Peterson is just bringing this out of them and, like, making it so that they are competitive in games that you would not think that they would be. Like, this Jaguars team made the fucking divisional round. That is wild.
Yeah, I would not have seen that coming.
Yeah. I think I actually predicted that they would finish 7-10 or something like that. And that was me being very, very generous to them.
Hmm. I think it said the same thing. Uh, I think based on their second half schedule.
Hmm.
Ultimately, I think I'm trying to remember if I had them still coming in still going last in the division or having them go third.
I don't think you would have had them losing to the Texans.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. I had them above the Texans.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good point. Okay, so now let's move on to most improved. Now this is different from comeback player of the year because it's going from essentially from one year to the next without like a setback as far as injury.
Hmm.
All right, so Nikki, who is your comeback player of the year?
Gino! Like I was not expecting the Geno Smith redemption arc this season. That was a new one, writers. Good job. Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Like, remember at the start of the season when the quarterback battle between Geno Smith and Drew Lock was literally depression?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Geno won it and we were all just like, ooh, good job. Are y'all gonna win like 3 games? And then they were just like, no, we're gonna win like 9 and make the playoffs. Suck it.
And we were like, wait, seriously?
Yeah. Pete Carroll was another one who probably could have won Coach of the Year as well. Because like he proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody thought he was cooked, and then it was just like, no, it was Russ. That was the problem.
Yeah, now that Sean Payton's going to be in Denver, he's going to fix that rust problem.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's still, but just actually now that like, we're talking about him, I think we should probably look at his stats going from one year to the next. Probably help out a little bit. Where is curious? Where is Geno Smith on this? I'm looking at. There we go, Geno Smith. From 2021. Let's have a look at his stats.
I mean, he was all right with the Seahawks last year in relief of Russell Wilson. Like,
Yeah,
he had a passer rating north of 100 in like limited action.
right.
Completed about 68% of his passes. Like, but even still, like going back to his last full-time season, which was in 2014, like
Right.
that's an age ago.
Yeah,
That
he
was
was.
like, and also like 3 teams ago.
Uh,
But yeah, his last season as a full starter, he went 3-10 with the Jets, completed less than 60% of his passes, threw for about 2,500 yards on the entire season, and threw as many touchdowns as interceptions.
right.
Like this season, like career highs across the board, like almost 70% completion percentage, 4,300 passing yards, 30 touchdowns,
Right.
and like, and he's even still got some legs. He's even still got rushed for 366 rushing yards.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. Now, as for mine, probably an obvious one, but oh how a difference a different coach makes. It's Trevor Lawrence.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, like that. This is this is basically your version of let's give some props to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, this
like,
is like last year. I gave my most improved player to Matthew Stafford based on switching from Detroit to Los Angeles. Here, it's a more like you're staying in the same spot, but your coach is competent. So
yeah.
so going from 21 to 22, one season to the next, massive improvement as far as touchdown to interception rate. His rookie season, 12 touchdowns to 17 interceptions, compared to this year, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions.
Right. He made the jump that you would hope that you would expect from a former number one overall pick, somebody who had the generational quarterback tag thrown on him like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this was like he definitely deserves to win most improved, but it's also kind of expected,
Right.
I would say.
All right. Now for the actual comeback player of the year. Coming back from injury. This is the comeback from injury from one year, and then all of a sudden, just breaking out,
Mm-hmm.
showing that hey, the injury did not set me back one bit. And this was an obvious choice for me. It's Saquon Barkley.
I wouldn't say it's obvious, but Saquon definitely brought himself back into the conversation of being like a legit starting quarterback or a starting running back,
Running back.
excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I thought he was toast.
yeah, because well, honestly, it's injury season after injury season after his rookie year, just injury after injury after injury, just kept him sidelined. And then
Mm-hmm.
but this season proved what he can do when he's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, like this was like I thought that he was going to basically ride out this contract, spend like 2 years with some basement dweller trying to figure out something with his legs, just try to get back on track and then quietly fade away. Nah, he's still the man.
Yep, and also with improved O-line help. Thank you, Andrew Thomas, for improving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anthony Thomas has been sneaky good this whole time. Like he's the best lineman that they've got, and like the rest of them are just starting to catch up.
Mm. Well, hopefully Evan Neal will follow in the same path.
Yeah.
But yeah, just with those injury seasons in 2020 and 2021, just a barely cracking 500 yards in 2021, to playing 16 games with a 1300 yard season, 4.4 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns, his longest run being
Mm-hmm.
68 yards. Uh, like this guy honestly deserves to win comeback player of the year because he is back in form from when he started out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
And as for your comeback player of the year,
I'm gonna go for somebody with kind of similar reasoning. Christian McCaffrey.
hmm,
Like his last two seasons with the Panthers, they were just so hard to watch. Like just injuries completely ground him into the dust. There was just not that much. Like you looked at him and you thought his legs are cooked. He doesn't have it anymore.
yeah,
But like he goes to San Francisco, a team that basically exclusively employs people who could play basically every position on the field.
yeah, including quarterback.
Honestly, I thought that Christian McCaffrey was going to play some quarterback at the end there, but like, yeah, he went out there and like just 100 yard game after 100 yard game. It seemed and just basically helped. Like when it happened, I was just like, San Fran. I know that the fuck them picks thing has kind of become a thing, but like, you just spent a first round pick on a 26-year-old running back with leg problems. Are you okay? Like, and then and then they just show up and it's just like, yeah, he's good. He's fine. And wow, crazy. I would not have expected that.
Nope. All right. Okay. Now that we're past the comebacks, now let's talk about the rookies and the coaches and the most improved. Now let's talk about the veterans. Who had the best season as far as offense and defense let's start
Mm-hmm.
off with Offensive Player of the Year. Nikki, your pick.
It kills me to say this because he's gonna hurt me for the next decade. Justin Jefferson.
Oh my god, yes.
Uh, Damn it! Like they replaced one like top five wide receiver with another one. They can't keep getting away with it. Uh, but yeah, Justin Jefferson was really, really, really fucking good for them this season. Um, like he, he he came pretty close to breaking the receiving yards for a season record, but he ended the year with 128 receptions for 1,809 yards, both of which led the league with 8 touchdowns.
Mm.
Damn.
Not to
And
mention,
I'm pretty sure like 500 of those yards came against us.
yeah, not to mention the most yards per game at 106.4.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he also brought the gritty to the NFL, so he's got that going for him.
Yeah, yeah, though really not the most yards after catch. That actually went to Austin Eckler at 857.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like running backs tend to get like more yards after the catch because they catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, but he does have the longest as wide receiver goes
Yeah.
at 613. Next closest would be AJ Brown at 548.
Mm-hmm.
As for my offensive player of the year, going back to running back, because what a contract year can change a person. It's Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Like, remember when they didn't sign him to his 3 year or to his 5th year option, and we were just like, yeah, that makes sense. And then he was just like, oh, does it now?
1600 yards this year, average of 4.9. Most yards per game at 97.2. Only 2 fumbles, but none of them lost, thankfully, and
Mm-hmm.
12 touchdowns. Yeah. So even though he was under Josh McDaniels' tenure, um, he was still the leading. He was still the leading rusher of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
Oh, almost certainly. All right. That being said, let's move on to defensive player of the year. Actually went back and forth thinking who would I pick for um, my defensive player of the year. Um, Ultimately, I went back to the old tried and true formula for cornerbacks, and I went with Minka Fitzpatrick of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Interesting. Hmm.
Well, I went base. This is basically a stats choice. Tied for. He's basically tied for most interceptions with Simmons, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Tariq Woolen. Um, but among active players, among veteran players, and among those top three, he had the most passes defended. Um, and he was the only one who actually had a pick six.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I would go with it. Like there's a case to be made that he wasn't even the best defensive player on his own team. Like, like granted, T.J. Watt missed some time, but like
Right,
the difference between when the Steelers had him and when they didn't, like it was night and day.
right. But he also still played majority of the season too.
Hmm. This is true.
But yours,
Uh,
I think, is the definitive uh, defensive player of the year.
yeah, it's Nick Bosa. Like he did very, very good. Like that 49ers defense was scary, and Bosa was at the center of it. 18 and a half sacks on the season, easily led the league in the category. Like they were the best defense in the league, and like yeah, it was pretty good. it was pretty easy for me, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
to say that.
Oh yeah,
Not much to it.
yeah, easily. Um, but now, now that we got our positive stuff out of the way, it's time to talk about a little bit of the negatives. It's now time to talk about our biggest disappointments. Someone who teams or players you thought were going to be really big this year, but ultimately they petered out or they just flopped hard. So,
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, your pick.
Broncos country, cyanide.
Ugh.
Like they were a trendy Super Bowl pick. Like take Russell Wilson, who is one of the best quarterbacks of our generation, and you take Nathaniel Hackett, who going into the season had hype around him. People were excited about him. He helped Aaron Rodgers get two more MVPs, and yet, like taking the coordinator of an already established quarterback is generally not great. But he brought Aaron Rodgers his best season, so theoretically he would be the guy to continue success wherever he went. But he was so in over his head in Denver. Like, there were people calling for his job literally after week 1. And I have never seen a head coach like get get grilled that hard that fast. Like, usually a rookie head coach gets some level of leeway, but immediately they were just like, this guy's not fit to be a head coach. Like, the fact that he lasted exactly as long as Urban Meyer with no off the field issues, like that should just tell you he was unusable as a head coach, it the rest of the team wasn't at fault either. Like there was injuries all over the offense. They were down to like their fourth running back. Russell Wilson was hurt off and on, and when he was playing, he was just making bad throws, like missing wide open people. Like there was just so much wrong with this Broncos team, despite the fact that the defense was like one of the best we've ever seen.
Exactly.
Like there was that one stat going around where like they would be like 13-4 or something if they had scored at least 18 points in a game. Like that's the bar you've got to clear. 18 points. I'm pretty sure my Bears could do that. They're not even a full team.
Yeah.
Pitiful.
Yeah. What's even more pitiful is saying that for a Super Bowl team, last year's Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl team, in fact, last year's Super Bowl winner. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good God, the Los Angeles Rams' biggest Super Bowl hangover. They look.
They won the ring, and then they were just like, we're good.
Geez, how do you do that? Going from like a team that gets an average of 27 points per game in their Super Bowl run to 18 average points per game.
Mm-hmm. Well, they they lost a lot of pieces that I think really hamstrung the team. Like, first off, the retirement of their left tackle, whose name is escaping me. What's
Andrew
his
Whitworth.
name? Andrew Whitworth. Thank you. Like they replaced him with Joe Noteboom, and he just wasn't quite ready for that spot. Also, losing Odell. Like I think that did way more than people were expecting
Yeah.
because like they replaced him with Allen Robinson the second, and he is washed. Like I think everybody was expecting him to like bounce back now that he was on a real team, but then it's just like, oh wait, no, the problem wasn't the Bears. Like Robinson just sucks ass now.
Uh,
So yeah, there's a lot wrong.
I mean, they're lucky that they finished third in their division because the Cardinals sucked
Mm-hmm.
this year. It's just honestly, I think the sign was telling when they got absolutely demolished at home in Week 1 against the Bills,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then After their bye week, just on a six game losing streak.
Hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, whenever Baker Mayfield is brought in to fix all your problems, worry.
Yep. Yeah, it was like I've never seen a team fall this hard after winning the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
And I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
I've seen close. I mean, I remember was it 2002 when after the Pats won the Super Bowl, they missed out, finishing I think third in the division, only because the Jets won their game, and then I think the Dolphins had just a slightly better um, AFC East record. Uh,
Right.
but other than that, I don't think there has been a bigger collapse than the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah. There's definitely a case to be made for it.
Right. All right. Moving on. Next part is biggest controversy of the year, and both of our controversies surround injuries and how the NFL's reacted to them.
Hmm.
I'll go first since it is also the first sign that the injury policy with the NFL is kind of sus, and that was Tua's concussion,
Hmm.
against the excuse me the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hmm.
Now, now, of course, the big thing was that in the previous game before the game against the Bengals, excuse me, Tua did have a concussion and he still played.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think you mean he had a back injury.
yeah, yeah, but ultimately, I really got to change my vocabulary here. But the game against the Cincinnati Bengals sort of signed that hey, the concussion policy is pretty bad in the NFL. Just the hits that Tua took and what everyone on their screen saw.
Yeah.
I forgot the actual term, but where basically his arm basically seized up.
It was like a fencing post.
Fencing. That's what it's called. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Where yeah, basically it was fencing and realizing, oh, this concussion's pretty bad. Like, if not,
Hmm.
like, and it had to be and it had to be taken off. Uh,
Right.
ultimate and of course the game had to still be played because Tua was still conscious as far as everyone concerned. He was just he did not look good. But after this, NFL basically overcorrected in how they were going to do how they're going to do their concussion policy. They took it a lot more seriously. If people had a concussion in the game, they basically kept that player out for 1 to 2 games to make sure that they were healthy. Now, unfortunately, Tua ended up getting another concussion later in the season, which kept him out of the AFC wildcard game against the Bills, which shows that there still needs to be more safety protocols for pretty much every player on the field.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yours is a lot more serious.
Yeah, it was the fallout of the DeMar game. Like after DeMar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest on the field and nearly died.
Yeah,
Like it was just such a weird scene. And like it got everybody talking about NFL in like really bad terms because it's just like this was a regular hit to the chest. Like he just got tackled or like was involved in a tackle and like just collapsing on Monday Night Football. It was such a scary look, and it's just is this just something that can happen in today's NFL? Is this like another reason why people shouldn't be playing football? And like it was just really, really scary.
Yeah, but ultimately, like the fallout from specifically the game,
Hmm.
where
Yeah,
the game was paused,
right.
but only because the both coaches refused to go back out onto the field.
Yeah, they were really trying to like, all right, 30 minutes, let's go. And the coaches were just like, fuck off. Like we nearly just saw one of our brothers die. Like we cannot do this.
And
So
it's also
the
the fact that
the
they
NFL
didn't.
were basically.
Yeah, it's also the fact that they didn't know if he was going to survive because they had to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they basically did CPR for roughly between 10 and 16 minutes until the ambulance got there, at which they had to
Hmm.
administer an AED to get his heart
Yeah,
starting
his heart
back
was
up again.
stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah, his heart was stopped for a long time, which is like medically dead. And then after that, they had the whole business about whether or not they should actually play the game again, like maybe pushing the playoffs back by a week, maybe like staggering the playoffs or something weird like that. It's just like this is not worth it. Like just call it a draw or something, or call it a
yeah,
forfeit or whatever. Like nobody cares at this point about like the win or the loss. Like just move on from it.
yeah. And ultimately, they decided that um, the game was basically like a no contest.
Hmm.
And if if the Bills ended up as the 2 seed, and going up against and would end up playing the Chiefs in like the championship round, it would have been played at a neutral site,
Hmm.
which unfortunately didn't happen. But and then that also affected the Ravens outcome with the with the Bengals, because if the Bengals lost to the Ravens, they would have had a coin flip to see whose stadium they would play at.
Hmm.
Even if even if the was it the Bengals won the AFC North.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole debacle regarding Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest, definitely the biggest controversy of the year for Nicky. Uh, but now let's talk about some WTF moments.
Yes. Now we get to point and laugh and not feel bad about pointing and laughing.
Yeah, this is the so bad it's good moments.
Mm-hmm.
So Nicky,
May I?
yes, go ahead.
This was my favorite thing that happened this season. Lovie Smith destroying the Texans tank. Like, so the Texans this season were pretty universally the worst team. Like, I think we can all agree on that. Like,
Oh,
we watched
absolutely.
the Texans play and felt depression.
Right.
Like, so, but towards the end of the season, they cobbled together a couple of wins against bad teams. And going into week 18, everyone kind of realized, oh shit, if the Texans win and the Bears lose, the Texans will lose the number one overall pick. And everybody was just like, oh, that's weird, but that won't happen. But they're the Texans. They're not gonna. Oh fuck! Like they
Yeah.
score the touchdown late, and then go for two and get it. Like Jordan Akins both caught like that. The first of the catch that scored the touchdown was like a fucking Hail Mary that worked. Like I don't think that gets enough credit. Like they literally like just heaved it deep and prayed, and it went through one defender's hands, and Akins just like scooped it up. That was cool. And then like then they went for two, only down one. Like they went for the throat and they got it. And then of course the Bears did their what they needed to do, and got bodied by the Vikings. But like, and you could tell that management was not happy with that win because he was fired before the Sunday night football game even ended.
Yeah.
Like, like apparently Lovey got word from management that he would not be brought back next season. And at that point, he's just like, you know what? Like the Bears treated me better. Like this team, like they're not bringing me back even if I win. So like, and they want me to go out there and lose so that they can get the number one overall pick. I'm not playing that game. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna fucking win because fuck them. You love to see it. Like that's one of those cool guys don't look at explosions looks where he just flipped them the bird as he walked away.
That's a. I'm trying to think. That's a falling down moment. Have you ever seen the movie Falling Down, where it's a movie where Michael Douglas has like the
Michael
worst.
Douglas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is having the worst day ever, and he basically just goes on a crime spree and he just does not give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw that movie like years ago. I remembered it. But like, yeah,
No, I still remember the fake McDonald's scene where he's trying to order a breakfast sandwich, but it's like past 10:30.
mm-hmm. The worst.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen to a man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that move alone might secure Lovie Smith's place in the Bears Hall of Honor.
You probably gives him the mayor of Chicago probably give him another key to the city. All right.
I would.
Yeah. As for mine, from one AFC South team to another, the head coach what the fuckery of the Colts.
Yeah. So Frank Reich, I think we can all agree, was an all right head coach.
Yeah.
Like given the roster that he had, he did what he could.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he's a good
got one.
Yeah, he's a good offensive minded coach.
Yeah, he got one last decent season out of Phillip Rivers. He didn't completely shit the bed whenever they had to trot out like Kobe Brissett or like any number of the post Andrew Luck quarterbacks that the Colts have had to trot out. Yeah. Matt Ryan was cooked, but then again, like I don't think Jesus could have saved him.
Yeah, he made Carson Wentz look halfway decent.
Yeah. So, not the worst thing in the world, but like the Colts are run by a fucking crazy person.
Yeah, so after Frank Reich got fired, I think it was the loss to. I'm trying to remember which game it was, but I think it was. Oh, right, it was the loss to the Patriots.
Right.
We ended up they ended up losing 26-3. That he got canned, and a search was on for another coach. Now on the Colts roster at the time was two former head coaches, and one of them you might know, John Fox, who coached I believe the Broncos as well as the Panthers, I think.
Yeah, brought both teams to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So obviously the answer would be to bring to promote one of those two coordinators to the coaching position. And then Jim Irsay said,
bad. Like it'd be kind of boring, but like John Fox is a proven coach. He is not.
Then Jim Irsay said, hold my meth, and put in Jeff Saturday, an ESPN analysis who's only had one coaching outing as a high school football coach.
A losing one, I might add.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Hold my meth, hold my Quaaludes, hold my beer. Like, how many hands do you have? I have a lot of drugs for you to hold.
Hold my triple X moonshine.
Oh man!
Just
this was the moment where we all realized, hey, Frank Reich or like Jim Irsay, he's a fucking idiot, and Andrew Luck was right.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was right to get the hell out of there. Like, playing for the XFL is preferable to this shit.
And what's weird is Jeff Saturday ended up getting a win.
Yeah.
Only one win, and it was against the Raiders.
Uh-huh.
But after that,
Yeah.
well, but
Especially after that, after he tweeted earlier in the season, man, Raiders don't look good. And then he went out and proved it.
and
He
then
called his shot.
yep, and then after that, loss after loss after humiliating loss, and then the Minnesota comeback game.
Oh my God. Like, Jeff, you're in history now. You shouldn't have done that. Like, you went full, like, and the crazy part is, like Frank Reich was responsible for the previous largest blown lead in NFL history when he was when he was the quarterback for the
Buffalo
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills.
Yep,
Oh no.
it's the curse of Reich.
He cursed them as he left. He's like a Native American shaman cursing the land.
I was gonna say he's like a voodoo priest.
Ah, yes. You'd
Okay.
think that would be the reference I would go for, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. But in any case, let's move on to play of the year. Like the jaw-dropping moment that had everyone really, how did you do that? How did you make that? And for me, it's one that goes under the radar. It's not up there with all the other plays of the year, but for me, it's Zay Jones' game of millimeters catch against the Raiders.
Actually look at this one because I don't remember it.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. It's Jacksonville's playing the Raiders. They're down 17-0. And this is the second touchdown of the game for Zay Jones. What happens is the ball gets deflected, and Zay Jones is in the end zone ready to catch it. And he kind of fumbles it, he kind of bobbles it a little, and he manages to catch it, has one foot in, and and gets the second foot down practically centimeters away from the out of bounds line.
Is that against the Ravens?
Raiders against the Raiders.
Raiders. Okay.
Yeah, Ravens is the comeback. Well, both of those were comeback games, but this was the game Zay Jones played against his former team. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he basically he bobbles the ball, manages to catch it, and then keeps his feet in by just like a couple of centimeters. Like it was damn close from being out. But that's why we say like the football is a game. We say that the football is a game of inches, but this I say is the game of millimeters because it all matters of like, oh, you are so damn lucky. That wasn't called.
Right.
But as for you, your catch of the your play of the year.
Yeah, there was a lot of catches this year that like would have fit this category. Like fucking George Pickens turning into a banana to catch that one ball, or
DJ Moore's Hail Mary.
Mooney. Huh?
DJ Moore's Hail Mary catch.
DJ Moore's Hail Mary catch. Darnell Mooney had like 3 of them. Like, there he just was just like, wait, the Bears have a receiver? What? But like, again, he's gonna hurt me for the next decade. I gotta go with Justin Jefferson getting that crazy one-handed catch on a 4th and 18 that kept them alive. I got it.
It was against the Bills.
It was against the Bills, yeah. Like that right there was like possibly game of the year right there, and that catch in there. So it's fourth quarter, 2 minutes left to play, 4th and 18. They're at their own like 27-yard line, and they need they need something to happen in order to keep themselves in the game against the Bills. And he just goes up and gets like maybe the best one-handed catch I have ever seen, just yanking it away from the Vikings defender and just like falling backwards, diving. How, Justin? How, you fucker? Did I say Vikings defender? I meant Bills defender, which is much better distinction. Vikings are all trash, but like the guy who was defending him, Lewis. I don't know his first name. Like his hands are on both hands are on the ball. He has it, and Jefferson just kind of like swats it away from him and then pulls it in. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he did all this with one hand while Bill's defender had both hands on it. Like, shit like this is gonna keep Kirk Cousins in the league for like 15 years. As long as he's got Justin to throw to, like he's set for life.
Right.
Fucking disgusting.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And the oh man, I think who is it? Oh, Cam Lewis. That's the person you're looking up.
Thank you.
Yep. And a UB Buffalo native.
Oh.
All right.
That's neat.
Yep. All right. Moving on. Game of the year. Now, normally we would put. Now I would have put an AFC or NFC Championship game, but both those games, what's the word? Sucked, but for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. So we had to go back a little bit in order to get our game picks for game of the year. So Nikki, your game of the year.
Mm-hmm. From the wild card round, Chargers versus Jaguars. This was the game that made me realize, oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence is gonna be a top 5 quarterback like very soon, because like he throws 4 interceptions in the first 20 minutes of the game, and at this point, everybody's just like, okay, the Jaguars are like they kind of coasted into the playoffs by winning a terrible division. And now they're going to go out and just completely die on a national stage. No, like they made themselves a comeback to the ages. For, I think down 27-0, they came back and won with a field goal at the end. It was like number one, Chargers got a charger.
Yeah,
like that's just a thing. But also, like the poise, the confidence to throw 4 interceptions and then go out and basically start over and throw for like 300 yards in the last 2.5 quarters and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
Well, I don't know if I've ever actually seen a 4 touchdown, 4 interception game. Because most of the time when you throw 4 interceptions, you're in your own head, and then you can't do anything. Not Trevor Lawrence. Not the fucking daddy.
Nope.
Now I gotta look this up. Stat Muse, you're my friend. Has there ever been a 4 touchdown, 4 interception game before? You can go ahead.
All right.
I'm gonna.
All right. Well, as far excuse me. Well, as far as my game, I had to go back to the regular season, and again, I'm sorry for bringing up painful memories, especially for me. It's Vikings Bills Week 10.
Man, neither of us like this game.
No, because this was a close back and forth game. Between the two teams going into the fourth quarter. And then, again, like you said earlier, the 4th and 18 catch. And honestly, it's one of those games where the quarterbacks really didn't do a lot as far as, passing. Because Kirk went 30 for 50 for 357, but they had 2 interceptions. Josh Allen, similar stats, 330, one touchdown and 2 interceptions as well. But ultimately, it just came down to the final minutes, And you know, just again another comeback from the Vikings. I could have also put their comeback game as on here as well. Um,
Hmm.
but again, like I really think about it, this was probably the best offensively played game of
Yeah.
the year.
Hmm.
Where and again
Yeah.
actually another close one which was my placeholder was Saints Seahawks in Week 5.
Oh yeah, that game had no business being as good as it was.
Oh yeah, but ultimately I went with the team that had like two playoff contenders.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Also, I looked it up, and the most recent game with a four touchdowns, four picks game was back in 2012 when Ryan Fitzpatrick did it.
Oh
That honestly sounds about right.
yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
but it's done. It's been done about 20 times.
All right, and finally for Haymakers NFL Awards, most valuable player.
MVP, MVP, MVP.
Had a lot of thought about this. This is the player that without them, they would not be the team that they are today. And for
Mhm,
me,
mhm.
that's Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals.
I could believe that.
I honestly,
Joe Burrow.
yeah,
Mhm,
I honestly believe that if with Burrow leading this team, with all the receivers that he has, with his running backs, like excuse me, with his running back core behind him, whether it's P. Ryan or Mixon,
mhm.
assuming Mixon's not in trouble with the law again. But oh
Oh
wait,
fuck, Joe Mixon, big time.
yeah, uh, this guy commands the team
Hmm.
no matter what. Zach Taylor's got a prize right behind center, and this year showed it. Like again, last year they made it to the Super Bowl. This year they had a little. They had to prove, okay, can they do this and not have a Super Bowl hangover? The answer is yes, because that
Hmm.
guy's behind center.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow said that their window is open as long as I'm here, and I believe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that they have a very good shot within the next 10, again, within those next 10 years, to bring a Super Bowl, to bring a Lombardi trophy to Cincinnati.
Hmm.
That's why I'm picking.
I
That's why he's my MVP of the year.
I can agree with that. And the person who actually is going to win MVP is probably not going to be either of the ones that we say because it's almost assuredly going to be Pat Mahomes, which is boring. But when you're the best quarterback in the league and still throwing like after losing Tyreek Hill, that's a pretty good sign. But for me, the MVP this season was Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
because, like, for starters, when he didn't play, the Eagles were demonstrably worse, even with a like decent backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. Like, they were noticeably worse.
Hmm.
But like, he made an incredible jump this season, and like showed just a crazy amount of like leadership. He comes across like a leader of men, and he went out and helped this Eagles team. Like like before the season, people thought the Eagles were going to be good, but I don't think anybody had them pegged as like best team in the league kind of look. But like the Eagles just went out there and looked like the dominant team for the entire
No.
season, and Jalen Hurts was at the center of that.
Yeah.
And I think that like Mahomes probably deserves MVP more, but for me at least, Jalen Hurts was the most impressive quarterback this season, and for me that's enough to for me to call him my MVP.
All right. Yeah. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for Super Bowl 57 from Tempe, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
The two
Chiefs, Eagles.
the two number ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people probably uh, were thinking, oh, that it's going to be these two. Um, I think I think either you had them or the coin had them. I'd have to look back. Um, but I know. I think the coin actually. Yeah, I think the coin did win on this one. That they ended up picking uh, they picked Eagles Chiefs. So coin wins.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn it.
Yeah. Well, sucks to be us.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, coin is not here because I chose since they won that I say fuck them.
Fuck the coin.
All right. So Nikki, who is your winner for Super Bowl 57?
I am going to say it's going to be the Eagles
Mm.
because like they have they've looked so strong this season. Their running game is so hard to stop, and I don't think that the Chiefs are equipped for it. Like I think they've got a decent pass defense, but like the Eagles are just going to run and run and run it down their throat.
Right.
And I think that the Eagles are going to win. And just as an added bonus for Super Bowl MVP, Miles Sanders.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a tough one. Excuse me. Uh, again, now I the reason also there's another reason I also decided to pick Joe Burrow over Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes. The Super Bowl MVP curse. The NFL MVP curse. Because normally around this time, like if a player in the gets selected as NFL MVP and they're playing in the Super Bowl, they usually don't do too well.
Mm-hmm. And also, the person who's led the league in passing yards has never won the Super Bowl.
Sure, and this year it's Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, this is a tough one. Uh yeah, I'm inclined to pick the Eagles too, because oh god, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
Hmm.
I'm okay. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I'm gonna pick the over of
Mm-hmm.
51. Like that, both teams score over 50, a total of over 51 points,
Sure.
and then the MVP will be Pat Mahomes.
All right.
All right. And with that said, this concludes our 4 month run for 5 month run, excuse me, for the NFL. But before we sign off, I'm just letting everybody know that the Super Bowl will be streamed on my YouTube channel, Voice of Reason. It'll be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so everyone can join in and watch myself and others react to the game as well as the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, muted because copyright and all that bullshit.
Of course.
And I'd love everyone to join in and on the festivities. Grab some beer, grab some grab some snacks, and just have a good time because
Yeah.
these are the number one teams in the league, and I expect a damn good game against these two.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to pop in. Can't promise anything, but it's been a good run. Been a good run.
Been a good one. With that said, voice of reason of the Haymakers as well as Nikki, signing off.